Shalom, my friends. Today I want to talk to you about the myth of the greedy Jew. I want to expose the myth of the greedy Jew and explain it. See, the ritual murder of Christian babies for blood to make Passover matzah and the killing of Christ are two of the most enduring accusations against the Jewish people. We hear them over and over again, even to this day. Both are easy to debunk if one is interested in historical truth instead of accepting unfounded anti-Semitic tropes. Not far behind, and still benefiting from immense popularity around the globe, is the false accusation that Jews are very greedy, and as a result, they control most of the financial institutions of the world. Before I go any further, if my videos are helpful to you, would you hit subscribe, give me thumbs up, and hit the notification bell? It really helps us get more coverage, more exposure. So thank you for that. So painting the Jewish people as greedy lovers of money continues to be a pervasive accusation. Most of the time, this is accepted at face value without any desire to check the facts. Statements describing Jewish people such as "it's all about the Benjamins" or "the idea that Jewish people are not into money is ridiculous" are very damaging. Another damaging way to paint the Jewish people as greedy is in jokes. Jokes that people tell linking Jewish people with greed, extreme wealth, and bank control. These jokes represent the perfect illustration for what I describe in my new book as desensitization, one of the 10 criteria defining the normalization of anti-Semitism. I've heard these jokes for over 50 years in multiple countries and multiple social settings. People truly believe that they are funny when they are indeed very damaging, very abrasive. Just as retelling a racist joke promotes more racism, so retelling these jokes promotes more anti-Semitism. There are the question I want to ask is: are there Jewish people who are greedy and love to control money? Well, if we're honest, the answer is yes. Yes, they are. But it's not because they're Jewish, but rather because they are flawed people with selfish, self-serving agendas. Greed can also be found in non-Jews or Gentiles. But nobody is going around telling the world that Gentiles want to control the financial world and have a lot of money in their pockets. And yet Gentiles constitute 99.08% of the world population. Is it possible that there is more than meet the eye when Jews are accused of greed and bank control? Well, in all honesty, there are a lot of Jewish people in the financial world, and many of them are or have been extremely successful, and as a result have amassed large fortunes. This is based on what is known as shrewdness. Jewish people are shrewd. They are good at business transactions, which helps them make good profits. And again, this is not exclusive to Jewish people. There are plenty of successful Gentiles in the world. But shrewdness might be more prevalent among Jewish people, for which they really should not have to apologize. Think about it. No apology needed. Additionally, Jewish philanthropy is one of the highest in the world. Jewish people can actually be very, very generous with their money. This is based on two Jewish traditions, tzedakah, which is charitable giving, and tikkun olam, which means repairing the world. But the question remains, how did we get to where most people believe Jews love money? For an answer, we must travel back to the Middle Ages, when it became increasingly difficult for Jews to be part of a guild, or own their own business, or even own slaves, making agriculture almost impossible. Not necessarily by choice, the Jewish community became deeply involved in money lending and banking. The process took a while, but the results are at the core of this very old diatribe. Christians were not allowed to borrow money from other Christians. This was considered a sin. But only allowed to borrow from Jews, who in turn would collect the money back with some interest so that they could make a profit. Not very high, but some interest. This was pretty much the only way that the Jewish people at that time could earn a living when all other fields of labor were forbidden to them or made very difficult to enter. So they would become moneylenders. The leaders and the kings of Europe started taxing the Jewish moneylenders on their profit. Taxes kept increasing, so the Jewish moneylenders had no choice. But if they wanted to keep pace and make money, they had to keep increasing their interest rates. The process went on for a while and gave birth to the myth of the greedy Jew. Some Jewish moneylenders did raise their rates too high, too often, trying to take advantage of needy Christians. But they were not in the majority and ended up with a very poor reputation in both the Christian and the Jewish communities. Again, these happened to be greedy first and Jewish second. They were not greedy because they were Jewish. This is the most important thing we need to understand. As money lending increased, anti-Semitism among the masses became more of a reality. Poor peasants, always in need of money, and often borrowing from Jewish moneylenders, ended up building resentment as they were borrowing from unbelievers. It almost always led to physical abuse and killing of Jewish people. Princes and nobles would protect their Jewish money, the Jewish moneylenders, as long as they could benefit from them. But the borrowers and or mobs attacked the Jewish community. When they did that, the princes and nobles would easily abandon their Jews and not defend them. By the end of the 13th century, Jews had been expelled from France, England, and most of Germany and other countries, mostly because of issues in money lending. We need to refrain from telling jokes about Jewish people liking money. Even when we hear such a joke, we ought not to laugh, but immediately correct the person privately, if at all possible, and in love. But correction is needed to make a difference. This is not based on facts, but on a myth born out of financial hardship and tension during the Middle Ages. Some might argue that all ethnic jokes are told in poor taste, and I tend to agree with that statement. Unfortunately, as poor taste as it is to paint the Irish as lucky or the French as obnoxious, these false accusations have never led to the killing of Irish or French people. In the case of Jewish people, it is a different story. Human nature, mixed with unfounded jealousy and misinformation, has always led to anti-Semitism. And anti-Semitism, way too often, is also leading to the murders of innocent Jewish people to this day. This is all I have for you today. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. Shalom. Be blessed.